All right, so we'll discuss where we were and where we are now, we think, and where we're going. Initially, when in the earlier stages of TSMO, we, of course, had a long-standing ITS program, probably from the mid '90s, and we were basically ITS and freeway management focused. And eventually, we what we did was we decided to merge the two separate areas and into consolidated just TSM&O moving forward, which was going to improve the coordination among the various offices and things like that. Next slide, please. So what did we do? As I mentioned before, we had the two different programs, merging them together. So basically, what we did was create a brand new strategic plan, and at that time, and that really laid the foundation for all the outreach, the understanding, education, and awareness of not only various offices throughout DOT here, but also with our industry, our MPOs, and our maintaining agencies, local agencies. At that time, we had actually had Raj Panaloria was at that time on my staff. Many of you may know him. That was his lead. He was the lead on the I don't call it an update. It was a rebuild of the department strategic plan, along with our consultant Stephen Baylor. I think they did a great job. Mainly, it wasn't just the document itself, although it was a very good document. It is, but also it's the number of sessions and outreach and meetings with other people and divisions within the department around the table. A lot of them didn't even understand, didn't know what we really did in ITS or TSM&O, like our systems planning or project development scoping and environmental. And so it was awareness to them as far as what we have at the end of the pipeline after something's scoped, designed, constructed, and handed off to operations. And also that also spurred off other things such as a more deep dive, which was the strategic plans for what is the statewide arterial management plan or stamp action plan, as well as the traffic incident management strategic plans. Next slide, please. So working with our planning office, also there was a good the benefit there too was once we got that, folks were reviewing our strategic plan, they got that broader understanding of what we were trying to achieve and really what their portion of it and their activities, how that contributes to what we actually deliver to our customer. And there was also a champion. It didn't hurt to have Victor Macharusa in our planning department, who he got on board and was a champion inside planning, and that was also instrumental in helping get a lot of the things done that we have gotten done within the department. Planning through operations became the buzzword and the effort and the initiative. Next slide, please. That's just a blow up of that slide now. So what we really want to get was, it wasn't going to be where capacity improvements typically would get done and we'd have to go back and put the ITS in. So we wanted it really to be part of the whole process of whatever we're doing out there. Ultimately, we need to manage and operate that system. And being upfront in the very beginning is very helpful. We have certain situations where we know, we lessons learned in the past where we find out by the time operations sees the plans, we say, hey, those on-ramps for that interchange widening project, they're too short because we'd never be able to do ramp signaling in the future. They say, too late. We already done right away. We're moving forward. That's it. Whereas now, operations is upfront, involved from the very beginning. Next slide, please. So after all the folks that we got involved in the projects, in the strategic plan and in the TSMO mentality and thought process, we're working our way, and they're enthused about it, including TSM&O strategies, language and things like that for their designers and their planners, even when they're doing the plannings for the projects. And these are some of the offices and the design manuals and things and handbooks that we're getting incorporated into or are already incorporated into. Next slide, please. Again, there's just a blow up of that. Some of it's been an effort for sure, but a lot of cooperation. And like I said, the folks in those other offices, whether it's planning, design, construction, maintenance, all the way through the life cycle, are understanding that what the customer sees is really what we are trying to deliver. Next slide. Yes, part of that mainstreaming also, after we have all the various offices within DOT and divisions and things, we reached out to Florida Transportation Builders Association, the MPOs, the local maintaining agencies like Manatee County and other ones. A lot of them, we were doing that at TSMO all along, some of it, but it's just trying to maximize the operation efficiency, safety, and mobility. But it really got more full scale when we created the program. We even did a reorg within the department of personnel coming. Signals and freeways folks are all pushed together and working together. Next slide, please. Some of the other things we did was some dashboards, because one of the strategic plan was it wasn't just 50,000-foot elevation saying we should do this and minimize lane closures and do things like that. What we do is we are now monitoring, tracking, and measuring on a quarterly basis certain elements like lane closures, uh, travel time delay, things. There's many elements that the districts are reporting back in here to our office quarterly on their measuring their performance and their goals of areas that they want to improve and reduce and improve the delivery to the customer. And one of these was, as you said, 11% reduction in hours of delay, some of the performance metrics that we were monitoring. Next slide, please. Yes. This was another one where it was the beginning of COVID, and leadership wanted to know what was the traffic reduction. And so based on the light traffic, we were able to determine based on all of our sensors and things like that, because Florida has instrumentation ITS on every mile of every interstate and the Florida's Turnpike. But we were able to determine that the traffic was so light that we could close lanes during the day. So we increased up to $2 billion. We fast tracked about $2 billion worth of construction work to keep the economy moving here in Florida. For outside folks were allowed to work outside, even though everyone else was stuck down. So that was a handy tool for us. Next slide, please. Another thing was outcome was, we hear that workforce development and things like that. So what we did was we created, for various reasons, actually, a bunch of computer-based trainings, and we called them construction engineering and inspection trainings because initially that was where the greatest need was, to help the CEI folks in the field to better understand how the things are built, and that our projects would go more smoothly, and they wouldn't find a bunch of punch list things at the very end, and that the project either be delayed or we'd be accepting less than product, less than what we had desired. So these are all the computer-based trainings that we have so far. They're free to everyone. Feel free to go in there and see those. I went and reached out to the construction industry as well, and they have quarterly construction things throughout all of our districts. So I was in there and encouraged them to take some of their contractors staff that are involved in ITS, because the more they know when they go out there, the better the job they can do, and and in less time, and time is money for contractors. So, that went over really well too, inviting them to take some of these trainings. Next slide, please. And that's what I have for you all today.